The Care Connection. Everything you need to know about senior care with Russell and Sam Burns. Call in now, 790-2040. That's 790-2040.
I'm telling you what, I think next year we're going to need to rework the roles of the hosts on this show. Russ got to do golf tournaments this year while I hosted in the studio. I think next year we're going to switch that around. I'm going to do golf tournaments. I'm going to put him in the studio, and he can anchor it. But we'll talk about that during our end-of-the-year recap meeting. In any case, I'm happy to be with you today. My name is Sam Burns. You're listening to the Care Connection Senior Show on AM 1030 KVOI The Voice. Unless, of course, you're listening Sunday morning to our re-airing, then you're listening on AM 690 KCEE. And it's all the same great information. It's just one day later. It is time for trivia. We've got a $20 gift card to give away to Wilbur's Grill. It is that time of week that all of our listeners look forward to, and certainly I look forward to the night before the show, writing the trivia. It's one of my great joys in life. It's one of those things, we talk about quality of life things. This is one of my quality of life things. Whenever I wherever I wind up, at the end of my life, I want to be writing trivia questions for my friends, for people that in my community. I think that's my calling in some ways. But in any case, here we go. Here's the trivia. The way the game works, I have a question. I have 3 possible answers, and the first person to call in with the correct answer will win the $20 gift card to Wilbur's Grill, which is located in the Viscount Suites Hotel on Broadway between Craycroft and Swan. The phone number to call in is 790-2040. That's 790-2040. And we start taking calls after I ask the question and give the 3 possible answers. So if you're calling in right now to try and get a leg up on the competition, we're on to you. We've been doing this long enough. We were born at night, but we weren't born last night. I'll put it that way. So here we go. Here's our trivia question. Like I said, this evening is the first day of Hanukkah, first of 8 days. So our trivia today is got a Hanukkah theme. How did the famous Hanukkah game Dreidel begin? How did the famous Hanukkah game Dreidel begin? What were its origins? And here are the 3 possible answers. Is it A, during a sale of old toys from a prominent carpenter in Jerusalem? B, as a German gambling game? Or C, as a science experiment performed by the famous medieval Jewish astronomer David Ben Yom-Tov? How did the famous Hanukkah game Dreidel begin? Was it A, during the sale of old toys from a prominent carpenter in Jerusalem? B, as a German gambling game? Or C, as a science experiment performed by famous medieval Jewish astronomer David Ben Yom-Tov? Like I said, this evening is the first evening of Hanukkah. Get your menorahs lit up, the first of 8 days. And so this is our trivia. It's got a Hanukkah theme, and we're giving away a $20 gift card to Wilbur's Grill. And so that was the question. I put a lot of research into this one. Looks like our first caller is Jody. Jody, welcome to the Care Connection Show. What is your guess?
For the gambling.
Hello, Jody. Can you tell me your answer again? We didn't get you there.
That would be B.
B, yes, that is correct. Dreidel came from an old German gambling game.
All right, that's awesome.
Are you much of a Dreidel player yourself, Jody?
I'm afraid not.
No. All right, well, congratulations. Thanks so much for playing our trivia today. And stay on the line, and I will get Tom in touch with you about your getting your information to get you that prize.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
No problem. All right, yeah, so there's the story behind Dreidel somewhat. Obviously, that doesn't cover everything that has to do with the history of that wonderful game, but more or less, yeah, it comes from a German gambling game. Now, without further ado, I knew that today we were going to be talking about Hanukkah, and so we were brainstorming who should we bring on, who's an expert that could come and talk to us about some of these things that also had some role in the senior community here in Tucson. And I think we found the perfect guest. Her name is LoriRiegel. She is with Handmaker, Jewish Services for the Aging, and her title there is the Religious and Cultural Education Coordinator. So I was thinking, what better person to bring on the show to talk about Hanukkah than Lori herself. So, Lori, welcome to the Care Connection Show. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Good morning, and happy early Hanukkah.
Thank you very much. Thank you for spending part of your Saturday with us. I'll start off by asking, what exactly does Hanukkah mean? Everyone's heard the name and the word, but what exactly does it mean?
Hanukkah, it's funny. In Israel, it's more of a minor holiday, here in the U.S., because of its proximity to another holiday, it's become very big and focused on presents. But really in Israel, the holiday is about triumphing over the unexpected miracle, really. We were not expected to be able to triumph over the Syrian army. We were a small group. When I say we, I'm talking about the Maccabees.
Okay.
And it was really not the military victory we expected, not the outcome we expected. You can sum up most Jewish holidays by, they tried to kill us, we won, let's eat. And Hanukkah certainly fits in that category.
I like that. And so it's an 8-day-long holiday. It's one of those that sort of spans over a week. Why is it? What's the meaning of the 8 days?
Well, the 8 days, what happened is the Syrians had desecrated our temple in Jerusalem. They were trying to get everyone in Israel to live by the Greek style, the Greek way of life, and trying to convert people. And there was a small group of people, the Maccabees, who hid in the mountains, as I said, and had a military victory over the Syrians. But what happened after this military victory is they returned to the temple. They wanted to rededicate the temple, for which they needed oil for our eternal light. It's called the Ner Tamid. They couldn't find any oil, and it takes 8 days in order to make pure olive oil. So they found a little teeny bit of oil. It really was only expected to last a day or two, and the miracle was the oil lasted for 8 days, giving them time to make new pure olive oil.
I see. So that's where we get the 8 days from. And
exactly.
So I'm guessing that has something to do then with the menorah and how the menorah fits into the Hanukkah celebrations.
Yes, exactly. So the menorah basically means a candelabra. The special menorah that we use on Hanukkah is called a Chanukiah, and it has actually 9 holders for candles. So there's 8, one for each night, and then there's another one that's higher than the others. That's called the Shamus, which means a guard or protector, and we use that candle to light all the others with. So each night we had one more candle until the last night, when we have our 8 candles, one for each night, and then the Shamus, the 9th candle.
Oh, okay. So that's why because I'm sure that's thrown many people off who think, well, there's 8 days of Hanukkah, but there's 9 candles there.
Exactly. And then if you're looking at a menorah that has only 7 candle holders, that means it's just a regular menorah, one for each day of the week. So it has to have the 9 to be for Hanukkah, and then it's called a Chanukiah.
Okay. Now, for everyone out there who has maybe, I know this, I'm not just putting a hypothetical out there. This has actually happened to me, but people out there who have a Jewish friend or Jewish family friend that may invite them to the traditional Hanukkah dinner. What is it that they can expect at that dinner? What are some of the traditional foods?
Well, first of all, they can expect fun. Hanukkah is a fun holiday. As you mentioned, the dreidel, we play with the dreidel. As far as foods, that depends on your family's tradition. I've seen brisket dinners. Certainly you could expect latkes, which are the potato pancakes. We have kind of a funny tradition in my family. We try to do 8 different latkes for 8 different nights, where we have a different flavor of latke each night, like the potatoes mixed with goat cheese and green apple, or the potatoes with smoked salmon and capers, so something different. We usually make it to about 4 or 5 nights, and then we get really sick of the fried food. But we try.
Yeah, very good. Well, Lori, thanks so much for joining me this morning. When we come back, we've got to go into our final break here, but when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that they're doing at Handmaker to get ready for Hanukkah and to celebrate Hanukkah over this next week. I've also got Brian Trask in the house, our Care Connection musician. He's going to do us a favor later on in the show and sing us a Hanukkah song. So I'm really looking forward to that. Stay tuned to the show. We'll be right back with Lori Riegel, resident expert on Hanukkah and all things Hanukkah. So you're listening to the Care Connection Senior Show. We'll be right back.
The Care Connection. Everything you need to know about senior care with Russell and Sam Burns. Call in now, 790-2040. That's 790-2040.
And welcome back to the Care Connection Senior Show. I'm your host today, Sam Burns, and we are glad that you are with us today. And it's not just any day. Today is the first day of Hanukkah. So if you celebrate Hanukkah or are interested in learning more about that, I'm so glad you've joined us today. We are talking about Hanukkah with Religious and Cultural Education Coordinator at Handmaker Jewish Services for the Aging, LoriRiegel. So I'll bring Lori back on the show. Lori, welcome back to the Care Connection Show. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So before we went into our last break there, we were talking a little bit about the history of Hanukkah, why there's 8 days, why there's 9 holders for candles on the menorah. We even got in a little bit to where dreidel began. Now, you're with Handmaker, Jewish Services for the Aging. What exactly does Handmaker do, and what are you guys doing out there to get ready for the Hanukkah celebration?
We are holding actually a holiday happening on Monday, this coming Monday, December 10th at 2:30 in the afternoon. The interesting thing about Handmaker is that we are a Jewish agency. We're guided by Jewish principles. However, we have many people living at Handmaker who are not Jewish, so we like to celebrate everyone's holiday. Of course, you will see a lot of Hanukkah celebrating starting tonight, going through all 8 nights. But we like to honor everyone's holidays. So at our Hanukkah happening, we will actually have a bagpipe player and a fiddler for the second annual holiday happening. They were fabulous last year, so we wanted to bring them back again. And I don't know if you've ever heard, I have a little dreidel on the bagpipes, but it is pretty unique.
Wow. Well, maybe we'll have to. I'll have to come down there and see that and get the guy's number so we can bring him on the show.
Oh, please do. William Don Carlos, he is fantastic, and he even wears the kilt, too, so
wow.
Very fun.
And so this event, I'm assuming, is it open to the public?
It is open to the public. We do ask for an RSVP if possible, and you could just call the main Handmaker number, 881-2323. Ask for me, ask for Lori, and let us know you're coming so we can make sure we have enough food and craft supplies. We will be making holiday bookmarks. We will be sampling holiday foods, including, of course, the potato latkes. And we have a really interesting fruit cake that we serve. It's actually based on a honey cake recipe that we use for Rosh Hashanah, for the Jewish New Year. And then we add in the candied fruit, kosher, of course, to make it into a fruit cake. So it's really unique. Kind of a blend of cultures going on there. And we'll be playing dreidel, of course, too.
Wow. Now, did you know about that whole thing with dreidel coming from an ancient German gambling game?
You know, actually, it's funny because we say if you have 2 Jewish people in a room, you'll have 5 opinions. I actually have a different story for the origin of the dreidel. What I learned is that when the Greeks took over and were ruling in the area, trying to assimilate people, Jewish people were not allowed to teach Hebrew to their children. So what they did instead is they put Hebrew letters on this little toy top, and they'd use it to teach Hebrew. And then if any Greek soldiers came by, it just looked like they were playing a little child's game.
Wow, well, there you go. That'll be next week's trivia.
There you go.
What is the second reason for dreidel beginning? Well, that's very interesting. So we've got the event at Handmaker, and before I let you go, Lori, I just kind of want to touch on one more thing that we mentioned it briefly in the last segment, but I thought was kind of interesting: the relevance of Hanukkah today in the modern day. We talked, about the ancient Syrians and the Maccabees. Is that right?
Maccabees.
The Maccabees, and where Hanukkah sort of originated from. Fast forward to today. Where does it stand sort of in the world today in general?
The Hanukkah story is inspiring. It's really about standing up for what you believe, even in difficult times. And that's a common theme running through Judaism. We were treated very badly by many different cultures, and yet we continue to triumph. We also continue to stand up for the oppressed, and that's very, very important for Jewish people, and really for all people. So the Hanukkah story is certainly an example of a small group of people standing up for what they believed in. And we have many opportunities to do that today, whether it's rescuing an animal or going to a rally or writing a letter to your congressman. It's very important to stand up for the oppressed. And Hanukkah's a great time to remember that.
Very nice. Well, Lori, thanks so much for joining us today. How can folks RSVP for the Hanukkah event, or I should say the holiday event? You'll be celebrating more than Hanukkah there, but for the holiday event at Handmaker.
They can give us a call at 881-2323 or visit our website, www.handmaker.org. You'll find a link to my email address there. Either way, call, email. So if you don't get the RSVP, you can still come. We just want to make sure that we have enough food and supplies for everyone, so we do appreciate an RSVP. And we hope all your listeners will join us Monday at 2:30 for our holiday happening.
Awesome. Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. I know I've learned a lot today about Hanukkah, and I really appreciate Lori coming on and sharing her wealth of expertise with us. Lori, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend.
All right, that was Lori Riegel with Handmaker Jewish Services for the Aging. And like I said, this evening is the first evening of the 8 wonderful evenings of Hanukkah. If you do have any Jewish friends who have invited you out to a Hanukkah dinner at their place, I highly recommend it. I went to one of my friends' Hanukkah dinners about 2 years ago. Had my first latke. They are very good, and it's a lot of fun. And like she said, there's some themes in Hanukkah that transcend all beliefs, no matter where you come from, what your background is. There's sort of some themes in these things that, if you read up on it, very interesting and very applicable to everyone, regardless of your beliefs and where you what you believe. So that's our thing today for Hanukkah. You've been listening to the Care Connection Senior Show, and as